Hello everyone and welcome into Coach Craig Sports. This is the MLB DFS Core Pick video for Wednesday, August 13th. If you're joining me for the very first time, first of all, welcome in. Second of all, this is how today's video will be structured. We go over my core picks. It's going to be 5 players in total, 1 pitcher, 4 hitters. That's going to be based on a combination of past performance versus their respective opponent, as well as some recent history. And then after that, we'll move over to my cheat sheet and talk through my top GPP teams to stack for Wednesday's slate overall. In the morning, I'll be listing my early morning weather report that have any game that does have a double-digit chance of rain or higher. And then I'll also be listing as many of these starting lineups I can get to throughout the afternoon and early evening. So definitely make sure that you are checking up down in that comment section so that you do have the most up-to-date and relevant information as possible. But without further ado, we'll get right into it with the core picks. We're going to start off at that pitcher position with Hunter Brown. He's at $10,300. He is currently averaging just under 38.5 fantasy points per game on the season. Goes against the Boston Red Sox, and he has some pretty decent history versus them in the past. It is pretty limited history at that, but he had one start versus them earlier this season where he put up 40 fantasy points, and one start in 2024 where he did put up 43 fantasy points. So there is some pretty good upside there with him just in general. If we look at what he's done so far on this season in totality, he's got 9 wins. ERA is up to 2.51 now at this point in time, and once again averaging about 38.5 fantasy points per game at $10,300. Then we're going to move down to our hitters. We're going to start off with Ernie Clement. I got him at second base here, but you can play him at any of the 4 infield spots, so it makes him a very versatile piece just in general. He's at $2,700, averaging just under 8 fantasy points per game on the season. Goes against the Chicago Cubs. Cade Horton is the expected starting pitcher for them. He has no history in the past versus Cade Horton. Obviously, Cade Horton is a rookie who has never faced the Toronto Blue Jays before, so that is part of the reason there. But if we look at what Ernie Clement's done as of late, it's been really, really good. So he's got at least 1 hit in 4 out of his last 5 games. Only 1 multi-hit game during that time span, but he has 4 home runs and 4 double-digit performances. So definitely do like the upside of what he's shown as of late. And on the season in totality, he's got a .286 batting average, 9 home runs, 39 RBIs. Once again, he's averaging just under 8 fantasy points per game at $2,700. Then we move down to third base with Max Muncy. He's at $3,200. He's currently averaging just over 11 fantasy points per game on the season. He's going against Los Angeles Angels. Kyle Hendricks is the expected starting pitcher for them. He is 3 for 12 with 1 home run versus Kyle Hendricks in his career. Max Muncy is on a modest 3-game hitting streak as we do speak. 1 multi-hit game during that time span, 2 home runs, 2 double-digit performances, and in all 3 of those games, he has at least 9 fantasy points or more. He's been doing really well since he's come back. He's got 4 home runs since his return, so definitely do like the upside of Max Muncy just in general. If we look at what he's done in totality on the season, .262 batting average, 17 home runs, 64 RBIs, once again averaging over 11 fantasy points per game at $3,200. And then next up, we have Carlos Correa. He's at $2,600, currently averaging just over 8 fantasy points per game at $2,600, but he's been doing really well as of late. Goes against the Boston Red Sox. It is Walker Buehler as the expected starting pitcher for them. He is 3 for 7 with 1 home run in his career versus Walker Buehler. He is currently on a 9-game hitting streak, 6 multi-hit games during that time span, 2 home runs, 7 double-digit performances, and 8 games of at least 9 fantasy points or higher. So definitely love the floor with Carlos Correa. He's been doing really well at $2,600. Looks like one of the better value plays on the slate overall. If we look at what he's done on the season, he's at a .280 batting average, 9 home runs, 38 RBIs. Once again, averaging just over 8 fantasy points per game at $2,600. And then last but not least, we're going down to his teammate Jesus Sanchez at $2,800, currently averaging just under 9 fantasy points per game. Goes against the Boston Red Sox as well. Walker Buehler still the expected starting pitcher for them. 2 for 7 in his career versus Walker Buehler. And Jesus Sanchez has at least 1 hit in 6 out of the last 7 games that he has started. However, there's only 1 multi-hit game during that time span and 0 home runs, so the upside might be a little bit more capped than we would like, but he does have 3 double-digit performances, 5 games, at least 9 fantasy points or higher, so it looks like a really good value option just in general, although we might want to keep in mind the upside could potentially be capped at that. If we look at what he's done so far in the season, .254 batting average, 10 home runs, 37 RBIs. Once again, he's averaging just under 9 fantasy points per game at $2,800. But with that being said, if you go with the 5 players that I do currently have listed here, you have $13,400 remaining, just over $3,300 remaining per player. It's a Wednesday slate, so it's a little bit smaller in general. However, they did add the other 2 games that I was not expecting to be on the slate. If you play on DraftKings, they're not on DraftKings slates, so went from a 6-game main slate to an 8-game main slate, so that makes it a little bit more interesting just in general. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to my cheat sheet and talk about my top GPP teams to stack for Wednesday's slate overall. So we're going to start off with the Dodgers. They're going against Kyle Hendricks. Most of their hitters do have pretty good history versus Kyle Hendricks in the past. So definitely feel free to get to pretty much any Dodgers hitter that is in that starting lineup just in general. And then we have the Houston Astros going against Walker Buehler. A good handful of their hitters have faced Walker Buehler in the past and do have decent history versus him. And then last but not least, we got the Toronto Blue Jays. They're a team that's been hitting the ball relatively well as of late. They're going against the rookie and Cade Horton. Cade Horton's never faced this Toronto team in the past, so there is no history there. But I definitely do like the potential of that Blue Jays lineup just in general, and there's some solid value options in that lineup at the same time as well. But with that being said, these are my core picks as well as top GPP teams to stack for Wednesday, August 13th. As always, if you have any questions related to MLB DFS, be sure to drop them down in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. And then once again in the morning, I'll be listing my early morning weather report to have any game that does have a double-digit chance of rain or higher. And then I will also be listing as many of these starting lineups as I can get to throughout the afternoon and early evening. So definitely make sure that you are checking up down in that comment section below so that you do have the most up-to-date and relevant information, especially as we do head into lock. But with that being said, if you are brand new to my channel, checking out for the very first time, or have yet to subscribe, please consider doing so. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now, we have MLB DFS in terms of the core pick videos, typically Monday through Friday. Will not be a video on Thursday this week. The Thursday slates as of late have been smaller and a little bit weird just in general, so unfortunately that makes it a little bit harder to do core picks as well as a cheap sheet. But with that being said, I'll be posting my notes up for that slate regardless for free on Patreon, so definitely feel free to check that out as well. And then I do have my CFL DFS video coming out once a week, typically on Wednesdays, so if that's something you're interested in, definitely feel free to check that out at the same time as well. And then last but not least, if you're interested in sports betting, if you're interested in prop betting, be sure to check out the links and promo codes down in the description below for BetUS and Prize Picks. If you are a brand new user to either one of those sites, when you sign up, make your initial deposit, you will get a first match deposit bonus. For Prize Picks, it's 100% match up to $100, and then for BetUS, it's 125% match up to $2,000. So some pretty great opportunities to be had out there. If you have any other additional questions related to that whatsoever, feel free to reach out to me, whether it's down in the comment section of this video or on Twitter at Coach Craig Sport, and be more than happy to help you with that journey as well. But with that being said, that's all that I truly have for today's video. Definitely do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Definitely means a lot to me. I hope that each and every one of you have a great rest of your day and some pretty good luck in MLB DFS for Wednesday, August 13th.